You are called to join the King's Guard.
There's a part of me that was upset that I never learned about these women. Like, for us here, our history begins with enslavement. You don't get to learn about all these incredible cultures in Africa where we came from.
Close your mouth. You look like a fish. And this film really gives us something to really look at the world from a new perspective and to really understand where women like myself came from.
You will be revered. You will be paid for your work. Your opinions will be heard. You're watching the characters' lives unfold, and there's something about it that you can connect with your life. And it's important to do that with characters that don't look like you. What I learned through this process is Doheny, they had an all-female military unit. The Agojia protected their kingdom of Doheny.
The king does not allow us to look upon the Agoji.
And that's what they did, protect from the Oyo Empire, Yoruba, Mahi.
The story itself is based on real events of what happened in modern-day Benin, but what was known as the Kingdom of Dahomey, back in the 1800s. And, you know, they're strong, fierce, well-respected women who are specifically chosen by the king to be his King's Guard.
They were not allowed to marry, have sex, have children. A lot of the women who were chosen were probably deemed, quote, unquote, the undesirables. The women they didn't know what to do with. They couldn't be wives, they weren't marriage material, so what? So they became warriors, they became fighters. It was a step up for these women. What other choices did they have? And how they trained them was its own separate story. How they were trained to be sort of emotionally cold. For instance, one of the first tests they had to take were to crawl across an acacia tree. They're really sharp thorns, and they would have to crawl over them and show no pain. They were taught to dance. They were taught martial arts from sunup to sundown, all kinds of techniques.
24/7 they trained. That's why they were so good. They outworked everybody. They were more fierce as well. There's just this fallacy that women can't be fighters, that they can't be warriors. These women were warriors, and they were stronger, faster, fiercer, fearless.
They did hand-to-hand combat, or they used machetes or spears. So the gun was something they never perfected, which is what ultimately decimated them.
We're in West Africa in the 1800s, 1823. King Gezo has just taken power from his brother. And the Oyo Kingdom, who has been their adversaries for decades, is now starting to break the treaty and starting to kidnap his people and selling them. He's testing to see how this young king is going to respond, because ultimately the Oyo want to conquer the people of Dahomey. The Dahomey Kingdom was the only kingdom in all of Africa that gave women a voice in their government.
This is a palace of women.
And they were respected by the king as well.
And this is historically accurate. They really valued women. On the council, there's a male economic counselor, but there's also a woman. There's a male spiritual counselor, but there's also a woman. Everything is equal. And that obviously fascinated us.
Dahomey has no soldiers man enough. They have to use their women.
It offended a lot of the other countries and kingdoms around them. They hated to be beaten by these women.
These soldiers are not your tribute. This is your tribute. Let it be known to all. The great and mighty King Gezo fears no one.
And so to learn that there was these women, a female army that legit protected their kingdom, that legit beat men. It's like, why didn't I know this when I was a little girl? Why didn't I get to grow up knowing about these women?
You are now my sister. I'll be proud to fight with you. As a Black woman who has natural hair, who has young Black girls in my family, I've always wanted to braid someone's hair on screen, and you get to see my character braid another young Black character's hair in the most tender, supportive, sisterly, beautiful way, whilst discussing them and their coming of age and their feelings and their aspirations. Those two coupled together was a special moment because it brought me back to my childhood and moments where you get to connect with it's your family member, you know, giving you love through your hair follicles, which we don't often think about, but it's love.
You are powerful, more than you even know. Do not give your power away.
We have a whole team of talented people. I've been lucky with the people I've been able to find here and their relationship with the content, and that we have a process of self-discovery in ourselves as we investigate this. I know for myself as an African American, a lot of our roots originated in this area of the continent in Western Africa through this slave trade. So when I observe these people, I observe my ancestors, my imagining of my ancestors and the discovery of that. So I think that's a beautiful, cathartic process.
It was very important for me to find darker skinned actresses. That sort of prejudice against darker skinned African American or Black women in general, it's an invisible prejudice. And very seldom do we see their presence in a movie, and certainly not celebrated, and certainly not in the forefront. So it was very important for me to seek actresses who were dark skinned.
It is you who face capture by disobeying my orders.
This story's power is that stories like this are almost never told. I mean, you could probably compare it with the Dora Milaje tribe in Black Panther.
Let us begin.
For this film, for women to be able to look up on screen and see themselves as effortlessly powerful, not only in the physicality of it, but their swagger, their knowledge that they belong, that they have a voice, that they're meant to be here, that they're in the fight. It's a beautiful thing and an inspiring thing, and not just for Black women, but for all women to be able to look up and see that. To be able to put these women up on screen has been everything.
We are the spear of victory. We are the blade of freedom. We are the home.
I'm excited for my niece to see it and millions of other Black girls to see the story being told in the way that it is being told.
Anytime you feel weak and discouraged, you turn this film on and you feel like a lion.
I don't care if the characters are Black. Listen, I've had to do it my whole life, reading Shakespeare and Anton Chekhov and Brecht. I see myself in Nora in A Doll's House, all of those stories, because they're written in a way that brings what it means to be human alive. But for some reason, when it comes to Black stories, there's always sort of a reductiveness to it. To meet whatever that white person sees us as being. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't think that that's necessary. I really don't. I want women to see themselves in Naniska and Nawi and Azogi, feeling like the outsider and then finding a place of community.
Agoji! Agoji!
Whenever I would tell my daughter a story at night, she would tell me to make up a story. 2 minutes into it, she always said, "Mommy, put me in the story." I want people to see themselves in the story.
Behold, the bravest of the brave, Naninska, the woman king.
Welcome, everybody. Action, boom, musket goes off.
Gina, from the moment she came in, it's a heart connection with her. And that's what she brings to it. And I love that about her.
Everybody stepped up, brought their best work, and brought the passion that everybody needed.
We had the best artists. We just did.
A film like this, a story like this, it was really beautiful to have so many women in leadership positions.
Being on this project is a gift. There are women who are a huge part of the storytelling and making this movie. It's a very connective film.
I literally feel like I can go to Gina with anything as Naniska or Viola.
Just simple things that you may have to explain in a different environment. We never had to explain to each other. We just all knew the film that we were making and the environment we wanted to create, a safe space for these incredible actors to give us everything.
This is a film that speaks to her on the level of an athlete. She's a woman that believes in physical strength, but I think it also speaks to her on a personal level as a Black woman. She's a team player.
She is a director who prioritizes relationship and open communication.
She was so passionate about the project. She gave us a lot of space and a lot of scope to do what we needed to do. And I think that's really important for a good director.
I remember when I had a conversation with Gina and she was like, yeah, I want you to send me your backstory. I sent it to her. She added one of the details into the script. My mind was blown because I've never had that experience before where working with the director felt so collaborative.
We had rehearsals with her where she made her voice clear in terms of what she wanted with the story and the characters, but also opening it up for us to say what we believe is right for the characters.
Gina was very organic with regards to teasing out emerging themes that we hadn't anticipated. And the relationship between Amenza and Nzogi was definitely one of those.
She was receptive to that friendship, and I think that she was open to allowing that to live on screen.
I didn't know that Sheila and Lashana were friends prior to the shoot. When you watch Sheila and Lashana together, there was just this beautiful organic thing to their friendship, and so I just started putting them together in scenes.
She does an incredible job putting people together that she knows it's gonna be good energy on set.
I see exactly why Gina decided to ensure that these women's preparation for war, preparation for each other, ways of celebrating each other was depicted in this movie.
She's a great leader.
I think she has the best sneaker collection out of all the directors I've ever done seen. You lot need to step up.
There was no other place we could shoot this film than Africa. It was just a no-brainer to tell this story of our ancestors on the continent with this amazing cast of Black women. There was something guttural about it, to be on the soil, to be connected in that way.
I think any story about the continent, if you can get onto the continent and shoot there, you're never gonna go wrong.
Shooting this film in Africa it's a joy of my life.
You are with the elements, you are with the energy, you are with the ancestors that we are portraying.
And I don't think that you can recreate it on a soundstage. I don't. I think that this story is very Black and very African.
We're honoring them by being on their land. It was probably one of the most accurate sets that I've been a part of. The palace was accurate to the actual palace in the 1800s. And even though you were on a film set, you felt the dirt.
I feel like I'm home.
Beyond this wall, this is a palace of women.
We are pre-photography for this film. So our research involves the written word, people that visited the kingdom, what they saw and wrote about. It is period illustrations, oftentimes tainted by the Western gaze. Outside of colonial Western culture, people had a connection with the earth. And I think that gives us a really strong base palette of browns and terracottas and reds. And so we get a beautiful base palette and all these wonderful complements on top of it.
Aniska, come with me.
The whole get-up, every department was making complete effort to ensure that everything was as accurate as possible.
Thank God there are sketches of these women from back in the day. And what was beautiful is when Gersha Phillips came on, our costume designer, it was great because Akin had already found these different books that actually described what these women actually wore. And then just to know that indigo, the color indigo and indigo dye was a big part of their culture, That meant that a lot of their clothing had that beautiful indigo blue color, which looks gorgeous on screen and on our women.
You'll see throughout the sort of costume and the hair and the makeup, everything means something. On our cross belts, there are different etchings and carvings, and everyone has different ones. They're all kind of ancient West African symbols that have meanings. And for each character, we were allowed to kind of personalize that.
We had our backstory in everything, in the clothes and the jewelry and the makeup and the hair, and being barefoot as well. You know, the dirt on the ground was a part of the costume, it was a part of us.
Agoji, mi juego mi, blood of our sister.
I want our women in this film to look more beautiful than anyone's ever photographed Black women.
And her working alongside Polly, the DP, just together they've created some really beautiful pictures.
I've been really proud of the world that we've created.
My brief for this project was putting together 500 years of African braiding. We did try to incorporate the back history of the character and their statue within the storyline.
And they were warriors, and they were these Black women, and they just represented everything I feel about reframing femininity. And their hair should reflect that. We wanted to create beautiful designs that were truthful to that time, but also you would rock today.
We really wanted Viola to stand out. Instead of braiding the centerpiece that was used a lot back then, as a braid down, I decided to release the hair and make a crown of a mohawk.
The best scars, the mark of a warrior.
So Gina's vision of the makeup for this was basically as natural as possible. We're talking about the agoji. We're talking about women that fight. They go to war every day. They're trained to not feel pain. They're trained to ignore pain when even if somebody's like stabbing you or whatever you're going through. So they've got a lot of scars.
The scars really became a part of us. It became a part of the history of the character.
Your scars are your pride, your scars are beautiful, your scars are your success, your scars tell your journey.
So the machete was the main weapon of the agoji. And what was so beautiful is they were like works of art. They had designs on them. The handles were all individual. Nanisca's is beautiful. It's this beautiful Black woman with this crown of hair.
Every single piece in that machete's got a meaning.
Azogi's was this cool animal on it.
Go, attack the soldier, take his head.
Everything was substantial, everything was heavy. You know, they had to really work at being able to handle these weapons and look real doing it.
It's important because it helps us build a connection with all the things the Agoji are fighting for.
Action!
One of the most amazing things I learned in my research about these women and this culture is how big dance was, and that the Agoji women used to create these elaborate dance sequences that they would perform for the king, that they would perform for each other, and also they used it to pump themselves up before going to war. One of the biggest dances in the film is something we call the battle dance.
The battle dance.
The battle dance, oh.
That dance nearly ended my life.
It was kind of like this white whale for all the actors because it literally starts on volume 10. And the actors hated it and loved it at the same time.
There's a difference between executing the dance and the moves and then the level of aggression and power that we had to bring to it.
We did the first rehearsal and the crew hadn't seen it at that point. All our rehearsals were pretty private. After that first rehearsal, it was amazing. The entire crew just broke out into applause, and that just fed the actors because like all this work they'd been putting in, all the pain and hours, they finally felt what others would feel in seeing this dance.
It was incredible. It took work. We were in dance rehearsals for a drama action epic film. And I knew that we were transcending into something else that we didn't quite understand because some see a dance, others are gonna see power.
I've seen such an amazing group of women. It just makes us feel like we are important, like we are seen. You can be heard. You can come to a room of women and there is positivity. There is, you know, that sense of sisterhood where you're bonding and you're basically building one another. So I've really had the beautiful journey of going through this with all these women.
I'm really honored to be able to be on a story like this because it's an opportunity for me to be able to portray what I believe we were and who we truly are.
It's really special when every department is all over it. They're just engrossed in getting it right. and we all work together to collaborate and ensure that these women are represented in the way that they deserve. And I think we did a great job at that.
Rise up and cut.
You are called to join the King's Guard. Train hard, fight harder. We fear no one.
We are the spear of victory!
The Woman King is a story about women pushing through to another side of themselves.
The casting of this film was a beautiful experience.
You find people who make you believe that they are who they are. That as I'm watching them, that they're living and breathing, that they've come to life.
This was a passion project for every single person that came aboard. You have to have that passion to put in the work that I knew they'd have to put in. It was all inspired by wanting to honor these women in the right way.
Megano, the prisoners are ready to march.
Bring me stronger warriors.
Yeah, Naniska is an incredible general. She believes that warriors have to kill their tears.
For me, the most powerful line that Naniska has is,
I was not brave enough.
Naniska is someone who is seeking forgiveness, but doesn't know where to find it. And that juxtaposed with the warrior makes for a very intriguing character.
I don't know what this film is without Viola Davis. Even in modern day, she is our woman king.
Viola is... She's Viola. She's a powerhouse. She's everything. She's the queen.
Viola is a great teacher, even when she doesn't realize she's teaching. I've learned so much from just observing her and working with her on this job, watching her process.
V leads by example. We were shooting a scene where Naniska and Nawi take this big leap, 70-foot leap off a wall to escape the Oyo. The water was very cold, and some of the other actors were, before we would roll, they would splash themselves. And V came on set, and she was like, and she took a whole bucket and dumped it on her head. And I remember seeing the other actors see that, and then they all followed suit. And that's just the attitude that she had, like authenticity first, truth first, whatever you have to do to get the take.
Were you this arrogant with your family? No wonder they gave you away.
It is you who is arrogant.
I am a general.
Now he's an incredible character because she's full of youthful spirit, vigor, determination, but like many young soldiers, she's like an unguided missile, and sometimes you have to guide her in the right direction.
Why did you not follow the plan? You were to go to the boats.
The soldiers were coming. If I did not come back as I
So
did,
you are the hero. You can act on your own, ignoring orders.
you would not have escaped.
It is you who face capture by disobeying my orders.
What's amazing about it is that the two women, as they fight side by side, they learn how victorious they can be together, but they also learn that they can love. Learning that sometimes we have to fight and sometimes we have to love, and without one, the other can't exist.
She can be described as stubborn, but also determined to be the best. She doesn't have a plan B. You know, it's either this works or it's what she would perceive as death.
Naniska is somebody we wish we could be, but most of us probably aren't. Whereas Nawi is showing us with enough hard work and enough determination, you can be what you want to be.
Our lovely Thuso, who plays Nawi, we had to find someone who could go toe-to-toe with Viola Davis. Viola's here, and Thuso held her own in her first reading. I was like, that's Nawi. She has this innate vulnerability, but underneath you could see this little bit of edge there.
First rule of training, always obey Izogi. I am Izogi.
Lashana Lynch, I knew she had to be Izogi. Izogi's such a dope character. She is so in your face and badass and cool and who you want to be in the trenches with.
Izogi is the fiercest warrior that I've ever seen on screen in my eyes. Her aspirations are just to be the best. literally, to be the best out of everyone.
Her passion for telling the story and wanting to embody this character, it was infectious and inspiring.
You see moments where she's a human being and she's also in pain.
You have never loved. I will be Megano one day. This is the life we have chosen. We survive in our own way. You will find yours.
But she's incredible. And I have a little part of her in me, and I feel really grateful for that.
I am Amenza. You come to the palace of Gezu. My character Amenza means a lot to me. Amenza's complexity is quite clearly illustrated by the fact that she is both a warrior and a spiritual leader for the community and for the kingdom.
Amenza is a really special character. We were looking for who could embody this role, and so met with Sheila. She read. She was amazing. Her whole physicality, you know, she's almost 6 feet tall and so striking, and she works so hard. She literally got a spirit. She just, every single day.
She's incredible, and the way she uses that weapon. She also did her own stunts, and I'm really proud of her. The way she did it was superb.
Why did you stay? Here I will be the hunter, not prey.
I really felt O'Day was such a special character because what she represents is actually the atrocities that were people against people, tribe against tribe.
You are a Mahi prisoner. That is all you will ever be.
The stakes are very high for her. She is a captive still. One wrong move and she could not be here.
It's fun to watch Odie because she both assimilates and distinguishes. She wears her hair differently. She speaks differently.
There's something really special when you find out someone has walked in the shoes that you feel like you are walking in. And so when O'Day finds out that Amenza came from the same journey that she is walking in.
Me, I also came here captive. Do you think yourself better than me?
No, Ajaki.
If you make it to the final test, you are one of us. No matter where you come from.
That changes everything for O'Day. It opens the door for her in a way that she never really saw before.
I'm not a soldier. Then why did you stay? I have nowhere else to go.
Fumbe is a genuine, gentle soul.
There's Masali Baduza, who is the sweet friend of Nawi's and who we think will be left behind, but eventually comes through it all victorious.
She kind of adapts to her environment, and also not to, she doesn't lose herself in becoming this, soldier. She still remains Fumbe at the core essence of who she is, but she just had to adapt to survive. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, having to adapt to your surroundings,
Beyond this wall, this is the palace of women.
I'm gonna describe the Agoji getting ready for battle.
The kind of things they do to prepare themselves are really quite incredible. They sharpen their nails into points so they can use them to
pop out their eyeballs.
They kept their hair short or it was braided so that, again, there was nothing for people to grab onto.
They learn how to use their own strength and their own body weight to take down numerous men for every one woman that stands.
It was less clothing so that there was nothing for people to hold on to. And then one of the most important elements, they used palm oil and oiled their bodies so that in a fight, men could not grab onto them. They couldn't get a good grip on them.
Today, you are receiving your first weapon.
These actresses have all trained and trained and trained.
Training.
The best action is personal, is character-driven, it's story-driven. And the way to do that is to have your actors doing their own stunts.
It felt like we're all in the trenches together. Whenever one fell down, there was someone else who was willing to lift you up.
Nutrition has a big part. So they on strict meal plan. They have 5 meals a day, clean, lots of protein, and lots of training and lots of strength training. That's what we do before there's any kind of physical scene. We do a little pump up. Pump their muscles, hype them up, to cheer them up, to get them a little bit in that, come on, let's do it.
And we had Danny Hernandez, an incredible stunt coordinator, and he and the whole team were really integral to keeping our characters right in the space that they need to.
So we definitely did a lot of research
in terms of the African type of fighting styles and everything like that. But of course, we want to enhance of the movements, and so we, take little pieces from every little things. Like we'll go with a little bit of the Kali, or like a little bit of the Aikido, a little bit of the Judo, and just try to combine like these different motions. We put the actors into the majority of the fight scenes. On this term, I would say 90% of the fight scenes for the actors, because they can do it because they train so hard for it.
It's something I'll never forget, and it has given me the energy of a warrior forever. And I'm gonna be eternally grateful for this film and this process for giving me that.
We fight or we die.
A big part of it was we did really have to feel like an army. That's a fundamental part of any successful army, is the understanding that you are nothing on your own and you are everything together.
It shows you the power of sisterhood. It shows you the power of teamwork. It also shows you what you can do when you stand in the face of adversity.
And that's really what the movie's about. It's about sisterhood. It's the power of sisterhood.
We really needed to lean on each other, and the bond that we formed was really special. It's like we have something forever that is incomparable to anything else.
It's been so wonderful working with these young women, because they are just fantastic actors and they want to give it their all. It's important to them. That's what it is. This film is important to them.
I mean, there's one word that I use to describe the Igoji women, and I said it to the actors every single day, and that's swagger. Bring your swagger. These women had swagger, not only in their physicality, but in their strength and fierceness and belief in themselves and belief in each other. That they fought for each other, they died for each other, they lived for each other. Swagger.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Action.
Well, I was there from the very beginning of this project. Maria Bello, who is an actress, wonderful actress, and a friend of me and my husband's. I was at an award ceremony. I was getting an award at the National History Museum for Women, and Maria was going to present it to me.
When Maria was, when she got up there and before Viola got the award, and she said, "How would all you women love to see Viola Davis as a warrior?"
And everybody applauded. They were screaming.
It was unbelievable, because it was about 2,000 women.
It was an idea that she was working on for a long time, and her presentation of me was the pitch to the Woman King.
And then we go on almost a 6.5-year journey to get to where we are now.
They just presented our production company, me and my husband's production company, with a great script, and it was love, like when the earth moves, the wind stops blowing, and you're like, oh. I felt it was an important story because I saw myself in it. And I saw my femininity in it. I saw my blackness in it. I saw a really important part of history in it. I always say any part of history is important, even the small parts.
The slave trade is the reason we prosper.
But at what price? We don't have a lot of information when it comes to Black history. And looking at documentaries, and there were only a few. Like a lot of the documentaries I looked at even explored the voodoo, which is their religion. So I watched everything that I could find, I did. And I saw a woman that was tapping into her strength fully. And I love that, her physical strength. The training started July 12th, and it was a Tuesday. It's Tuesday, Harold Loomis. But it was a Tuesday, July 12th, when my body went through hell. The fact that I'm breathing right now after the prep work for this movie is a miracle. It was great. 3 hours maybe of martial arts a day, an hour and a half of training with weights, sprinting. I mean, in martial arts, it was everything from sword play, spears, machetes, punching, a lot of punching. My body just was wrecked. I'm 56 years old. All these girls are in their 30s.
Viola is a woman in her 50s who is doing all her own stunts. And it's just like, wow, of course I can do it. Of course I can. And I should just shut up and get on with it.
And she never complained. She was always just on the money.
Viola always had a smile on her face and, again, a dance in her step.
And after I think about a couple of weeks, I mean, I felt like a badass. Now, there are days when I'm like, okay, I'm good. I have to say that all the things that I was taught when I was a girl of wanting to win the Miss Central Falls Recreation Contest, wanting to look good in a bikini, especially when I was in school, I just wanted to be willowy and thin, and I was always really muscular and thicker, and you know, I was feeling like my femininity could not be created with this canvas. And then all of a sudden, my muscles, my arms, my thick legs, my heavy voice was perfect.
Our ancestors push us to march into battle against those who enslave us.
And I have to say, as I gradually go along, when I'm walking on the set as Naniska, I feel unapologetic about it. I celebrate it in every way. Sometimes, you know, you do a movie and you do it and it's over. And sometimes you do a movie and you're a little bit better for it. And that's what it's been like for me with the training. Any woman who does not wish to stay may leave.
Viola Davis lives her life within this industry and on screen in such a specific, strong, beautiful, vulnerable way. She is our guiding light, our beacon of excellence, and everybody wants to be led by her. Everybody wants to work with her because you know that she is going to force you, push you to be your best.
Viola is a mother, she's a nurturer, she's a leader.
I'm sorry.
In every sense of the word.
You may stay.
She knows how to guide, communicate, protect. She was easy enough to call me, talk to me about the character, ask me questions, help me think outside of the box, but also ask me questions about what I think as to what's happening with her character. You know, something that I never would have expected. She made it a very collaborative process, which made it very enjoyable.
The white man has brought immorality here. They will not stop until the whole of Africa is theirs to enslave.
She's been one of the many pioneers for success, and she's been the person that represents a lot of versatility and skill as an actress. So for me coming up, you know, I had a moment where we were doing a scene with each other and I forgot to respond because I ended up just gazing and watching her.
She's taught me so much already by just being herself, which is full of grace, beauty, heart, and kindness.
She's got such a tough job leading this project, this set. So I can only imagine what leading a cast like this was like, but she has such grace and poise, and she became Naniska for me.
The empowerment in the film doesn't just come from these women stepping into roles as warriors. The empowering part of the story is also the reconciliation with Naniska and her daughter. The empowerment in the film is also Nawi holding Izogi while she's dying. The empowerment in the story are all the women like Fumbi who are terrified of becoming a warrior because they don't want to die.
I'm not a soldier.
The empowerment is, even though Naniska wants to be a warrior, when she's finally raped and she gives that baby away, there is a pull, a tug, meaning female empowerment. It is also in vulnerability, in failure. It's also in how we show up for each other, because these swords and the story that's unfolding is in the hands of Black women. And once again, I'm going to reiterate, unabashedly, dark-skinned women. And that's the beauty of this story, that it encompasses all of that. I call it my magnum opus. I do.
To the victor!
But the reason why I call it that is because I've never seen it before, and I always dreamed that I could be in a movie like this.
It's been just an honor to see all these beautiful Black women transform into these warriors. It's been the joy of my life. I keep saying over and over again, what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls the butterfly. We've been so misunderstood, limited, invisible for so long, and now people are gonna see us become butterflies.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad to be a part of it, seriously. It's tattooed in my memory. This is one for the books. In cursive.
I'm sorry.
You may stay.
Are you a soldier?
What do you think?
Where are the others?
I prefer to bathe alone, an old habit. You are one of the captives we freed?
No. My father brought me as a gift to the king.
Is your father rich? He must be. If he were poor, he would have sold you to a rich husband.
Oh, he tried. He tried, but I do not want a husband. I want to be a soldier and a good.
And what does that mean to you?
That you are admired, that you are unafraid, and that you are somebody.
Some of those things are true. How old are you?
I have 19 years.
That is old for a recruit. At your age, I was already commanding a unit.
I will work hard. I will work harder than anyone.
Many obstinate daughters are dumped at the palace. They usually fail.
All our lives we're told stories about the Agoji, that you have magic. But you look like just any other regular old woman to me.
Fighting is not magic, it is skill. We will see if you have any. Which of you designed this trick? Then you will all be punished.
I did it.
We all did it.
No. It was me. I apologize.
Once again, go back to the barracks. How did you make this explosion?
Gunpowder. And then the dangerous weapon, the rope.
You prefer guns. You enjoy practicing with the young men in the infantry. I see you flirting.
This is not allowed.
You know it is not.
The men who are soldiers, they have wives and children, but the Ogoji are forbidden. That doesn't seem fair.
Were you this arrogant with your family? No wonder they gave you away.
I think it is you who is arrogant.
I am a general. I have earned it. You have earned nothing. I should turn you out.
No, no, please.
I have watched soldiers die because they were not disciplined. Their easy life did not prepare them for the challenges of war.
I did not have an easy life. I want to be here with my sisters. I want to fight for my king.
Your tears mean nothing. To be a warrior, you must kill your tears.
In Bahia, my mother would talk to me about Africa, about this place, Obome, and the women warriors.
What did she say about us?
That you were proud and strong and feared. I thought they were just stories.
I grew up on those stories too. They made me dream that one day I could matter.
My mother was a slave. That is all I knew of African people. I never dreamed that here we were warriors and kings. Now I see the majesty, the beauty.
You did not see the beauty in her?
My father sent me away to school. His blood gave me my freedom, made me feel that I was different. But I am my mother's child. Before she died, she made me promise to come here so that I could know for myself.
Are you a good man?
I think so.
Then you must not ally yourself with slavers such as the Chacha and that other man.
Santo? We grew up together. He is my friend.
Or does he see our beauty as you do?
Tomorrow, we will be gone.
And you will come back again?
I want to. Naui, the Oyo are coming.
Yes, in the dry season.
No. I heard the general in Wida say that he would make a surprise attack.
I must go tell them.
Wait. I brought you a gift.
I cannot take your gift. I'm not even supposed to be here.
You will insult me if you do not.